Welcome back to Paramic Financial. This is Jonathan Tran with Finance in 5 to 10 minutes. Today we're going to close out the tax series here on what you need to bring to your CPA, accountant, or even if you're filing tax by yourself, what forms do I need to bring? Because a lot of times you receive like all these forms, or you want to do your taxes, or maybe it's your first time filing taxes, and you really don't know what to bring, right? So the first thing first you should always have is your Social Security card or your number, right? Because that's how you file your tax and you report it to the IRS. And whatever forms that your employer or anybody that's giving you forms, they're going to go by your Social Security number. So first and foremost, you got to have your Social Security number. A lot of times, it's always best practice to also bring your driver license too, if you're filing with somebody, so that they can identify who you are and you are who you are, right? So if they're not asking you for a driver license, they really should, right? Just to verify who you are, because anybody can have your social and file taxes. So just make sure that you protect your information. The second thing that you need to bring is that anybody that you file in your household, you need to bring their name, social, date of birth as well. And if it's your spouse, you need to have their occupation and also their driver license as well, right? So anybody that you claim on your taxes, whether it's your child, somebody you take care of, your parents, whoever it may be that you claim on your taxes, you have to have their information prepared as well. Now, when it comes to what kind of documents, the first document that is a key thing to know that you need to file taxes is income-related documents, right? Anytime you make money, whether you work for a company, you may receive a W-2. On your W-2, it'll tell you like how much money you made that year, if you put money, how much money you spent on your health care, if your company offered it, and so forth. All the related information from your job will be on your W-2, and then you will file your tax based on that. Another form of W-2 is if you go and you gamble. You won the lottery, or you go to your local, casino, and you made some money, right? It doesn't mean that you make that money and you don't pay any taxes on it, right? So you have to keep track of that, and if you made over a certain amount of money, you will receive a W-2G so that you can file your taxes for your gambling earnings. Now, if you have gambling losses, then you can offset your gambling losses to your gambling earnings only, but you cannot offset your gambling losses to your normal income. So keep that in mind. Other forms is any type of 1099. Now there's a ton of 1099s out there, A, B, C, D, all the way down miscellaneous. So there's very many different kinds of 1099. Each 1099 just tells you a different type of income that you receive, whether it was interest, you working self-employed, or you sold a home, you sold some stocks. Whatever it is, you receive a 1099. The banks may send it to you or whatnot. You keep those forms, bring it to your tax person, because most likely you may owe some taxes on those 1099s, right? So keep that in mind. Anything that's 1099. If you have Social Security, you will receive a SSA form, 1099 as well, so that you can file your taxes. Now, the taxes you owe on Social Security may depend on how much you earn during the year. So if you're under 65 years old and you took early retirement at 62, then your limit income is about $15,000 that you can make before they take back $2 for every $1 you make. After you hit 65 years old, then that ups to about $40,000 that you can make before they hold back some of that money for you, right? So keep that in mind when you are retired. It doesn't mean that you don't owe taxes anymore. Now, you may not owe taxes depending how much income you make, but it's always good to double check just to make sure. But don't file a tax if you don't need to and waste money, right? A lot of people ask me, John, I received this Social Security statement. I need to file my tax. And I look at it and I say, well, it's under the limit. You don't need to file your tax, right? But don't waste your money when you don't need to. And finally, if you receive a K-1, so if you're in a partnership or you're part of a business of some sort and you receive your dividends or your income from your business profits at the end of the year, you will receive a K-1 and you'll have to pay the federal tax on that. Okay, so those are kind of forms that are related to income. If you make money from rental income, you will not receive a form because that's kind of running your own business. So you have to make sure that you report that yourself on the Schedule E for your rental income, and you can deduct any expenses related to that rental income. But whatever you net from your rental, you need to pay taxes on that. Okay. Related to expenses. So if you receive any form that has 1097 or 1098 form on there, a lot of times it's like mortgage interest, student loan interest, those things, you can deduct those out of your income, right? So you receive a 1097 or 1098 form, those are deductible expenses that you can deduct from your income. Also, things that you can deduct are childcare expenses up to a certain amount. Also, business expenses. If you're self-employed or you have a business, so important that you keep track of these things, right? If you have not developed a system for you to track your expenses, use QuickBooks. It's a very cheap form, or sometimes you can use like another application free if you can find one to keep track of your business expenses. So important, right? That could make it or break it for you in terms of finding the qualified and proper expenses, so in case you get audited, you have all that proof there ready rather than just estimating everything. Other expenses is your related to your property, so mortgages, real estate tax bills if you received any, rental expenses. So depending on what it may be, you may qualify to use some of these expenses, especially if you're self-employed. If you are wanting to get a deduction, those are some ways to find some deductions, right? So those are things you need to bring to claim your deductions. Other than that, if you are ever missing any documentation that you say you're switching CPAs and you cannot find certain documentation and your CPA is asking you to bring like your old taxes because this is the first time they're doing taxes with you and you lost it, you can always go to the irs.gov website and you can go online, create an account, and you can pull your taxes that way. Or if you cannot get online for some reason, you can pull a form called a 4506T form. Again, 4506T form. You fill that out, mail it in, and the IRS will send you a copy of your transcripts so that you can bring that to your new tax person if your new tax person is asking for the previous taxes and you don't have it or you lost it. Right? So I hope that's helpful for you guys. Be prepared. Tax is just try not to wait until the end of the year to try to do everything, but keep track of all your expenses, keep track of all your money and your documentation during the year so that when tax season comes, it's a quick and easy thing for you to do and you're not panicking and rushing to do it, right? So if you have any questions, any comments, please comment below. Also subscribe to us to get more content from us, okay? All right, thanks a lot. Have a good day.